Hey Mixers, welcome back to another NFL player props video. I have two cash giveaways to give out today, one from 2 weeks ago, week 8, because we were still waiting on like one of the parlays to cash on Monday night. And it didn't cash in time for the Thursday video because I did the Thursday video early, so we're doing it now. Plus I have some money to give away from the Thursday video, so let's go ahead and jump into those, and then I'll give you a bunch of bets for Sunday. And I think Monday I threw those in together this week as well. All right, so let's jump into that. Okay, let's spin these wheels here. And looks like we have Darlene Smith, 1523. She said, give me the alt total parlay, 4 legs. We did hit all 4 of those legs. And Rex Houston, let's get some money on the Thursday night video. So let's jump into, Darlene, I haven't paid you before, so I need you to reach out to me on either X or on Instagram, or send me an email at elixirmixersllc@gmail.com, and I will get you paid. Okay, so let's jump into that recap. We did hit both of our player props on Thursday Night Football, so that brings our player props for the NFL season up to 53%. And we also hit our alt total parlay at plus 139, so that brings our game bets down to minus 1.197 units on the season. And we did not hit the touchdown parlay, and we did not hit the lean, the Tua Tagovailoa over 1.5 rush yards. He did have one, but we did not hit the touchdown parlay. As you can see, the touchdowns are where we're doing the worst, almost 9 units down, but most of that is in the first 3 weeks when I was still betting full units instead of half units on the touchdowns. So that was kind of, I hadn't really gotten to this market before, and I was doing full units when I really should have done half units because they were all plus money plays for the most part. So yeah, that was just my fault on the unit sizes. We should be down like 4 or so units if I was doing things correctly, but that's okay. I'm happy to dig myself out of that hole. All right, so these are the bets I've already given out for the game bets this week earlier in the preview video. And then let's get into some more bets that I have for you. So I posted these first 5 on X so that you could get on them because I knew that they would move. So I saw Caleb Williams a couple days ago over 230.5 passing yards. That is at 236.5 now. I still think you could probably take it there. He's only over in 3 games on the season, but he's over in 50% of away games, including the 2 most recent away games, and he's playing the Bengals defense, which is, obviously pretty bad. Only one quarterback did not go over their line against this Bengals team this year, and I have that on the right. So even Justin Fields went over his line against this team. Carson Wentz was the only one who did not, and a lot of these quarterbacks went way over their lines, like Bo Nix, who went over 300, or, let's see. I mean, they all did. They all went well over their lines. Justin Fields, his line was 166. He had 244. So this is a great spot for Caleb Williams. All right, Daniel Jones over 236.5 passing yards. That is now at 248.5. I told you that would go up, and it has gone up about 12 yards. I think it's not even done going up yet. So maybe give a pass on this one if you haven't seen it already. But excuse me, he is over in 5 out of 8 games this year. He's over in 2 of 3 away games. And every single quarterback, including Dylan Gabriel, who is not on this list, went over their lines against this team. This is the Steelers that we're talking about. So 5 out of 7 quarterbacks went over this specific line, 236.5, and 3 quarterbacks went over 300 against the Steelers, including Jordan Love, Joe Flacco, and Carson Wentz. And Sam Darnold almost got to 300. So I'm not really understanding the line here unless the books think that the Colts are just going to demolish the Steelers. But if that's the case, then the spread should not be 3. So, I think that the books don't really know how to play this game, and they're trying to hedge. And I think we're going to kill them on the Daniel Jones passing yards. All right, speaking of Sam Darnold, let's go over his passing yards at 235.5. That is now at 241.5, but I gave it to you on X at 235.5. He's over in 4 out of 7 games this season. He's over in 100% of away games, which is this chart in the middle here. And then 5 out of 8 quarterbacks went over their lines. 6 out of 8 quarterbacks went over this specific line. The 2 who didn't go over the lines were complete busts. So Justin Herbert, his line was 260.5. He got 166. And Russell Wilson, his line was 217.5. He got 168. So either Sam Darnold's a complete bust, or he's going to go over this line easily. All right, DeAndre Swift, I gave this out as well on X. He is over, we're taking him over 50.5 rushing yards. That is now a goblin on PrizePicks, although it's not up on a lot of sites because he is questionable to play. So obviously if he doesn't play, it'll be a DNP. But he is over in 4 of 7 games. 9 out of 10 running backs with at least 10 rush attempts went over this line. So 9 out of the 10 lead backs went over this line. And the one person who didn't go over this line was Dylan Sampson with no Quinshon Judkins in the lineup. So this was before Quinshon Judkins joined the team, and Dylan Sampson was only able to get 29 on the ground. All right, Ladd McConkey, I also gave this one out at 56.5. Now it is at 60.5. But I think I've seen it at like 58, so you can probably still get it under 60. Over in 4 of 8 games. He's over in 3 of the last 3 games. 80% of similar players went over their lines against the Titans. So players who play, on the outside, but also in the slot, they went over 80% of the time against this team. So I don't know how he doesn't get here unless he just doesn't get the usage. All right, one of my favorite bets of the week is Trey Tucker over 39.5 receiving yards. He's over in 4 out of 7 games, and this is the spot where the Jaguars gave up. Listen to what the Jaguars have given up in every single week. Week 1, 68 to Teteroa McMillan in his debut game. 165 to Jamar Chase in week 2. 104 to Nico Collins in week 3. We bet on that. 46 to Ricky Pearsall in a game that he left early. So he probably would have gotten pretty close to 100 as well. 90 to Tyquan Thornton, just the deep threat guy, no-name deep threat guy for the Kansas City Chiefs. 162 to Jackson Smith-Njigba. And then he only did give up 35 to Davante Adams, but he did give up 3 touchdowns to Davante Adams. So this is a really good spot for Trey Tucker, who only plays on the outside, pretty much, versus Jacoby Myers, who plays on the outside, but also in the slot. Also, Brock Bowers is coming back, so I don't know if that pushes Jacoby Myers out a little bit more. I don't know. We're going to find out together. So, this is a scary one to take a Raiders player here, but I think he's in a good spot, so we just have to follow the data and the statistics. All right, we're going to ladder this. So I did play the full ladder on Trey Tucker, so I went one rung down at 24.5, and then at 39.5, the normal line, 49, 59, 69, and then I jumped to 100 for a huge payout. I don't know if you can get to 100, but I know that this ladder can be profitable. All right, Drake May under 228.5. I did see this go as high as 333.5, but it's on the way back down. So I think people are agreeing with me and betting on the under here. Drake May is over this line in 6 out of 8 games, so it's crazy that we're taking the under here. But no quarterback has gone over 205 passing yards against the Falcons this year. That includes quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Tua, Mac Jones. So, some decent quarterbacks that have put up some pretty big numbers this year, and they weren't able to do it. If someone could do it, maybe it is Drake May, but I'm just telling you, it's hard to pass on the Falcons. So, yeah, we're taking it, and we'll see what becomes of it. But it is a little risky, and that is why it's only a lean. Another lean for you is Wan'Dale Robinson over 50.5 receiving yards. He is over this in 2 out of 4 games where Malik Nabers is not on the field. So 50% of his games, and he's well over this line. So, he's either going to hit it or he's not, and that is why it's a lean. But if he hits it, he's probably going to go way over this line. And then Juwan Johnson as an alt line, you can get this at 14.5 on Prize Picks, pair it with any random square and get a double up. I usually only give you alt lines that will give you a double up payout. So like a 2x payout if you put it with a regular line. And I think this is way too low of a line for a double up payout. So anyway, he's over in 100% of games this year. And the Rams are ranked 31st out of 32 teams against the slot. So Juwan Johnson should do pretty well. Chris Olave should do pretty well. And I probably will have a bet on Chris Olave, but I don't have any official bets for him. All right, all of the Steelers tight ends are in a good spot, but so is DK Metcalf. So I just feel like I don't know where the ball's going to go. If you have a good read on where the ball's going to go for the Steelers, then you should bet on that person because I think they're all in a good spot here. And then yards on the first 2 receptions, these lines have not come out yet. So this is like lines to keep your eye on. Kendrick Bourne, Alec Pierce, Trey Tucker. You kind of want to target guys who might only get 2 to 3 catches and guys who have a really long ADOT. So their 2 to 3 catches are going to be deep, and it's probably going to go over their longest reception line. Usually the longest reception line and the yards in the first 2 receptions line are the same line. And so you can bet on their longest one being that long, or you can just bet on their only 2 catches, adding up to more than their longest reception. I like to bet on that, but those props have not come out. We did take 6 of these a couple weeks ago, and 4 of them hit. So that's 67%. The next week, I didn't see any of them until the night before. Then I saw a couple of them, and I bet on them again, and they cashed for me again. So these kind of props have been really good to me, but they are not up right now. All right, some touchdown calls for you. Jackson Smith-Njigba, plus 105 is what I got. He's over in 4 out of his games this year, 4 out of 7, but he's over in 3 out of the last 3. The Commanders gave up through the air none to the Giants, 2 to the Packers, 3 to the Raiders, which all went to Trey Tucker, by the way. 2 to the Falcons, 1 to the Chargers, 1 to the Bears, 3 to the Cowboys, and 3 to the Chiefs. So they've given up a receiving touchdown in every game but 1, and they've given up 3 receiving touchdowns in 3 games out of 7. So in about 50% of their games, they're giving up like 3 touchdowns through the air. I don't know who else is going to catch touchdowns. I mean, A.J. Barner could catch a touchdown. Torrey Horton could catch a touchdown. Maybe Cooper Kupp, maybe Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, not Kenneth Gainwell, but Kenneth Walker. But I like Jackson Smith-Njigba's chances because he's going to get the looks. All right, Trey Tucker for a touchdown. You don't have to play this if you want to, it's kind of crazy to play the ladder and the touchdown, but I'm just trying to play them so that if one of them hits and only like half the ladder hits, we still come out with a lot of profit here. So Trey Tucker only has 4 touchdowns, and 3 of those came in the same game. So really, he has touchdowns in 2 games out of his 7 this year. But their opponent, the Jaguars, have given up a lot of touchdowns through the air. So every single week, they've given up a touchdown through the air. They gave up 5 touchdowns through the air last week against the Rams. Jacoby Myers on the same team, plus 165. You can just take your pick on who you like better there. This chart is actually Trey Tucker's chart, not Jacoby Myers' chart. So disregard that, but it's the same spot, so we don't need to talk about it again. All right, Josh Downs plus 275. This is just because I like the price. So 275. I like Alec Pierce for a touchdown as well, on the same team. But Josh Downs has had 2 touchdowns this year, and those were both in the last 2 games, the most recent 2 games. Josh Downs has been playing a lot more in the slot this year. Michael Pittman has gone outside, and then Alec Pierce obviously plays on the outside. And so I do like those outside receivers for a touchdown, but I just loved the price on Josh Downs given his talent. So I wanted to have some money on that. You guys don't have to follow me there, but the Steelers have given up through the air touchdowns in every single game except against the Browns, and they've given up 3 2-touchdown games and 2 3-touchdown games. All right, so those are the touchdown calls and the leans and my alt line play. The best bets will be on the next screen, so you can take a screenshot of this if you want to. And then here are the best bets. I have 6 of them for you. I gave out 5 of them early, and then the Trey Tucker one is the newest one, and I love all of them. So if you want to get in for the cash prize giveaway for this video, then make sure you're subscribed, like the channel, and choose 2 out of these 6 best bets that you think are going to hit. And if they do, you will be in for the cash prize giveaway with everybody else who also gets their picks correct. All right, thanks, guys.